Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Legacy Speaker Show. I'm your host, Jasmine Haley, and today we are speaking with Mariah Street Esquire. She is an amazing attorney that's going to help us get our estate planning life together, y'all. Now, one of the important things that we have to remember as speakers, we are always thinking about how can I make an impact on my audience? How can I build and bring more money into my business? We often don't take a moment to pause and think about how am I planning out for my future if something was to occur, whether it be my death or some other medical emergency. So when it comes to legacy planning, looking at our legal business services, our business succession planning, any business owner or any speaker that's legacy driven, because I talk all about legacy, needs to be legacy minded when it comes to their business and any sort of succession planning. And that's why we've invited Mariah to come up here and to share her expertise. Welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited, per usual.
Me too. And I wanted to have this conversation to talk about this. We've talked about it personally on our own. I have seen the difficulties that arise when planning is not in place with my own experience in my own life with losing a parent. And so I know that there's so much work that I need to continue to do. And it just brings a big relief on the family and your loved ones who have to care for you in different challenges that may arise, or even in the hopes of your death. Not hopes of your death, that because the death will come, right?
That's going to happen whether we like it or not.
Right. Exactly. So I want to just dive in a little bit into why you do the work that you do. Not only are you an incredible lawyer, but you also are a speaker, a corporate leadership consultant, and an avid Disney fan, which I absolutely love.
Right? Hello.
Why this type of work?
Oh my gosh. Well, like you, I have a personal story. When I was in college, junior year of college, my mom suddenly passed away. It was very unexpected. She wasn't sick, none of that. It just happened. And it was one day she was here, the next day she wasn't. Like, that is what happened. And of course, like so many people, we think that we're going to live forever, just how I talked about earlier. I don't, I tried my best to making sure that we're normalizing. Death it's a part of life. The fact that we have life means that we are going to die. And so, I think like a lot of people, we think that in our minds we try to manipulate the fact that we know that we're not going to live forever. And so I think a lot of people think that they're going to live forever. And so my mom was one of those people, most likely, because she didn't have an estate plan when she passed away. She was, very educated person. She was a nursing professor at a college. She was published in journals and all the things. That just goes to show you that it doesn't matter, even with celebrities in the news. You hear about them not having estate plans, and they have boatloads of money. And one of the misconceptions is that we think that we have to be wealthy to do estate planning, but wealthy people still don't do it. So, but anyway, regardless, she didn't have a plan. And so because of that, neither I nor my brother didn't see anything from her estate. And so and I know that wasn't her intent, because I know most parents don't want to see their children struggle, or see them start back at the starting point. They want, their kids to be able to start where they finish. In order to do that, though, you need an estate plan. That's just point blank, period. Because you can be building wealth during life, but in order to make it generational, I know that's such a buzzword, but if we're talking about generational wealth, there needs to be a plan for that, because otherwise, state law will determine that plan for you. You actually have a plan by not having a plan. It just might not be the plan that you want. It's likely not the plan that you want. And it's not going to take into account you wanting to establish generational wealth. They're just trying to figure out who to give your stuff to. Like, they don't care about none of that. stuff.
Mhm.
So, I started this business to make sure that legacies don't get lost. And so, trying to debunk all of these myths and trying to get people to understand, doesn't matter how old you are, if you're over the age of 18, you need some form of an estate plan, period. Because we all have also agency to make decisions. What if you're in the hospital and you can't make healthcare decisions on your behalf? Who does that? What if you can't sign a contract, then who might you give the power to do that on your behalf, whether you're in the
Mhm.
hospital or not? But we just need to. It's a form of of really establishing a legacy and generational wealth that everybody's talking about these days. So.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate that you brought out like you gave an age minimum, which is 18. Because people feel like they have to establish, some sort of, like you mentioned, some sort of wealth. They have to have a business that's already reached six figures. They have to get to these certain milestones before they do that. But like many of us, we don't know when our time will come. We don't know if there'll be a challenge where our family will have to speak for us. I know
Right.
my mother passed away unexpectedly. There was no warning at all. And even in the instance where sometimes we'll prep and we'll let some things go on the wayside, I'm like, yeah, I'll get back to that. That was a situation even with
Mhm.
my own experience. There was paperwork, but it was never completely finished. And so when we looking at hiring someone with your expertise, they're there to make sure that no life experiences get in the way, all our day-to-day tasks get in the way of finalizing those documents and making sure that they're renewed. It actually makes me think about a Prince. Prince
Yeah.
passed away unexpectedly and
Yes.
left no direction,
None. And
no
his
will.
family is still in court, like, to this day.
Yes, and what I wanna point out too, I think though that he partially did that on purpose. I think he partially
He was a character, so Hey.
but besides the point, someone just posted today, someone who had been using a trademark, something that was owned by Prince. They were complaining now that after 40 years of using it, Prince was okay with it. And now the family, whoever is running his estate, is saying, no, you cannot use that name. Like
Right.
that's how serious things can get, even
Yep.
years after the fact.
Yeah.
And so when we're looking at making an impact on our audiences, let's also consider the impact we're making on the people who love us the most,
Who we care
right?
about, who we care
Or
about
who
the
we
most.
care about, who we care about. It's true. Who we care
Very.
about the most, not
I mean, it's just
that's true.
a lot of us we have loved ones that are in like that we care about more than anybody else in this world, and that just it is
Mhm.
what it is. So not that we
Absolutely.
don't obviously care about our clients and if we have businesses and things like that, but for a lot of us, family does come first. So or even just any loved ones or whatever, even some friends like family. So but yeah, just it's an act of leadership and an act of service to get this planning done and done correctly.
Mhm. So for speakers that are interested in starting the steps towards getting ready and prepped, right? Because I feel like there has to be a mental shift
Oh yeah.
that has to happen to understand, like, there is no other delay. Like, this should have happened yesterday. And I'm talking to myself too. 'Cause I've got some things in place, but I realized after meeting with you and seeing the work you do, maybe there's some other gaps that I haven't seen for myself. So
Hmm.
I want to know, for a speaker that's prepping, what are like one or two things that they can do to kind of reframe and get their mind ready to start this journey?
Ooh, two things. One, I'll list them. Okay, I'm gonna list the one that I'm thinking of. I would say one good step that anybody can do is to kind of take inventory of everything that you own and everything that you care about. Take inventory of that. I mean, get out a journal or an Excel sheet, if you into that, or whatever, an app, I don't know. And just list literally everything that you own and care about.
Mhm.
So, if you are a speaker and you have a business. Okay, you care about that business, but okay, what else in the business do you also care about? Kind of similarly what you were talking about with Prince. For speakers, y'all have IP that you need to protect. First of all, let's get the IP protected. Okay. Y'all need to make sure that you got your trademarks and your copyrights tight and in order, and the contracts to manage them in order, because that is going to be a major part, like we're just talking about, in your estate planning. Estate planning does plan for and should plan for your IP as well. So, if you care about how you want that to be used after your death, or if something happens to you, then you need to make a note of that. And how, and like kind of just generally, okay, well, what would I want to have happen to this? Do I want to give the ability for somebody to license it? Who specifically am I giving permission to do that? Like those things, you need to write all that down. And just on the personal side, we all have families and stuff like that. Just list everything that you own, any life insurance policies that you have, any retirement accounts that you have, bank accounts, real estate, whatever it is that you own, you need to, because you're a person first, you have stuff that you need to protect. So you need to list all of that out as well. And the same thing, what would you want to have happen to it? So that's first. But I would even say that's the most important thing, this number 2 thing. You need to know why you want to do this. I need for you to pinpoint what your why is. Because I find that when people come to me, they say things like, okay, well, I heard that I need to get this done, so I'm gonna get this done. I have found that the people that I have really enjoyed working with are the people that come and they're like, okay, I want, like they come ready with a plan, like not the legal plan, but just generally, okay, I want to plan for this many generations, and this is what I want to, like, this is generally what I'm thinking, because then I as the professional and the legal expert, I can do that and make all of this legal and make it happen. You know what I'm saying? So I'm your guide and your support in that, and your strategist. I'm not just an attorney, but I pride myself in being a strategist as well. So you're not just getting an attorney that knows the legal stuff. I know the legal stuff, trust me. Mm-hmm. But I'm also a strategist. So I'm strategizing about your assets. I'm strategizing about your IP. I'm trying to make it so that your estate continues to make money, so that your kids and your children's children and your children's children's children get to live off of that for generations. So that's what I'm doing. You might not know how to, well, I know you don't know how to do that. So that's why we're here to do that, right? Mm-hmm. So, but I need you to come with like those 2 things. That's the best start. Knowing the why, and just kind of having a plan about your legacy, like what exactly would you want, and just listing everything that you own and you care about.
Yes, I love that. When I created the work that I do now, it was because I consider my own mother's legacy. And one of the things that I always state whenever I'm sharing my keynote, when I create my programs now, this show is called the Legacy Speaker Show, is the fact that every single decision we make today, this conversation we're having, is a part of our legacy. Everything that we do is a part of our legacy.
Everything.
It should not be considered, exactly, it should not be considered when we're at that end stage of life.
Right. Facts.
And I love the fact that you shared, because I think we need to just reemphasize that as well, with the fact that as speakers, we have IP. We have proprietary processes with how we provide solutions to people's problems. We go out there and we speak. We have training programs. We go out and have consulting programs. We have books. We have, what else we got? we have swag. We have swag. We have things that we spend hours and days and nights and weeks and months building.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to that?
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's it. That's the question. What's going to happen to all of that? So I think that's why it was such an important decision when I was thinking of creating this series and go out there and speaking specifically to speakers. A lot of us are so enthralled by, I want to get paid $15K. I want to get paid $20K. And all of that is great. because
Right.
we're on the show to talk about getting paid as well.
Hey, look, get your coins. Hello?
Yes.
But
Get it all.
protect our coins. Let's protect our coins, okay?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, protect it, protect it. And I think the shift has to happen where you fully step in to a role of a CEO. Yes, you're still sharing a message, but of a brand or of a business, whatever your speaking represents, you still need to come in with the CEO mindset. You have to come in, and establishing a legacy is necessary.
It really
What would
is.
what would you say is one of the biggest challenges for people to overcome and get to this space of planning?
Ooh, it's the mindset. It's the mindset. That's why I focus a lot on that in all of my marketing and things like that, just because it's the mental blocks that we have that prevent us
Mhm,
from doing it. It's the we think we're too young. It's the think we're
mhm,
too we ain't got enough. It's the I think, do I even deserve, well, who am I to even be doing that? It's that type of thing. It's that
mhm.
thinking. That's what's preventing y'all from doing it. If I ask any of y'all, it's all mindset stuff. It's not that, you can easily go and hire an attorney, but you haven't. So that tells me that there's something in your mind that is
Yep,
stopping you from doing it.
yep.
Period. So,
Mhm,
once you find, and I always say, whoever you're partnering with, because you really are partnering with this person to do this, and whoever it is, of course it should be somebody that you trust, just like any service provider that you vet them out, and see if they jive well with you. But
mhm.
once you find that trusted person, you need to hold on to them. You need to hold on to them, because they really are. They're like it's invaluable, the information and the education that they're going to provide you, and then you're going to be able to pass that education down to your kids. One thing that I found with, and I'm going to speak a little bit, or I'll say a little bit about, there's a huge wealth gap in terms of, I'm gonna be frank, white people and people of color. Okay, so
Mhm.
I have found that with a lot of my white clients, actually, they'll come to me, and they don't know everything either. But I had one client in particular, something that really stuck out to me. He said, you know what? I'm here because my dad told me that I needed a trust. He can't. He told, like, he was just like, yeah, I'm gonna create a trust because my dad passed down this knowledge to me about benefits of trust and what I can do to establish wealth for my family and all of that. We can do that too, y'all. If there's any black people of color here as well, or even women, it's so invaluable for you to be able to learn at least high level what you're doing, so that you can then pass the knowledge. That's what it is. It's like we need to pass down the asset, but also the knowledge as well, so that we can break these cycles of generational poverty off of, like, that's how you break generational cycles and things like that, is passing that type of stuff down. So I just kind of want to say that, because that's it, but
We
it's
need to hear it. We need to hear it.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And so
Mhm.
getting your mindset together is going to be, that's what's keeping y'all from booking a consultation with an attorney. Okay. So I ain't even gonna hold y'all. I know it is. I know it is. It's not the amount of money. It's none of that, because once you're sold on you establish you protecting your legacy at all costs, you're gonna do it no matter what the cost is. Period. Period.
True, true, true.
Period.
Absolutely. And what I want to get is to a place where more women, and especially people of color, have more of us walking in and saying to our attorneys, my mom, my dad, my grandma, whoever it was, said I
Yep.
need to establish this trust.
Yeah.
And I feel like when we all start walking in and speaking like that, that is where the true change has really had made a lasting impact. And that's what we want.
That's the legacy right there. That's
Yes,
the
yes,
legacy. They're like, oh,
yes.
how great is it to would it be to know that generations after you know your name because of what you did. They didn't even meet you, but they know your name
Woo!
because of what you did. How would that feel?
Wow. So you about to make me cry. Because it's real. It's
Yeah.
real. And I just think about the different life my children have because of one decision I made. One decision.
All you have to do is decide.
Yes,
That's
yes.
it. All
Oh,
you have to do
this
is
is
decide.
such a good reminder, such a good reminder. So I want everyone to know that Mariah has the opportunity where you can schedule a business roadmap session where you can get a business audit to create your game plan for the legal protection of your business. So we're going to drop all of that information in the description box, and we are going to highly encourage you to get in contact with her and her team so you can start this process. We want to build speakers that not only create transformation from the stage, but truly create legacy, which is why this show is called the Legacy Speaker Show. So thank you, Mariah, for being here. Go ahead and just let us know what your website URL is. And of course, we'll drop that information down into our description.
Yes, yes. My website, you guys, is www.legacystreetlaw, STREET law.com. It's kind of a play on words because my last name is Street. So, but yes, there you can, like Jasmine said, you can schedule business roadmap sessions, especially for the speakers with the intellectual property. I can serve clients all across the country for intellectual property needs. So feel free to reach out and schedule that there. We'll talk about that in the session, as well as if you are in North Carolina, specifically, I do have the option if you want to schedule a legacy roadmap session specifically for your legacy planning and your business succession planning. That's there as well. You'll have the option to choose between the two, and we can go from there. So yeah,
Awesome. Well, thank you for being on the show.
thank you so much for having me.
Of course. All right, y'all. So we just had an amazing interview with Mariah Street. I hope you enjoyed this interview. As you continue to follow along with our channel, I'm going to encourage you to subscribe, listen in to the amazing professionals that we're going to be bringing in that will help you enhance your professional speaking. We want you to be savvy, be impactful, and continue to create your legacy. All right. I'll see y'all all next time. Bye.